Hey everyone, welcome to JSA TV, where we're covering the latest stories, trends, and innovations from leaders in the digital infrastructure industry. I'm Candace Ipos with JSA, and we have a very special edition of JSA TV today, where we are meeting with three industry titans to discuss how they're navigating the unprecedented growth and scaling of AI infrastructure. So we've got Ginn, CEO of Hydra Host, Bill Kleyman, CEO of Apolo, and Chris Crosby, CEO of Compass Datacenters. Thank you all for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
Absolutely. So we are going to jump right in. We understand that the three of you are teaming up to deliver a partner keynote at the Data Center Innovation and Next Gen Workforce Summit, which is coming up fast and furious April 16th at Southern Methodist University in Dallas at SMU. So the event will be a fast-paced day in the future, all about the future of sustainable data centers and next gen workforce, very important topic in our industry right now, featuring an agenda with some of the top CEOs in the data center industry, like yourselves. So the three of you will be on the session titled Tokens Per Watt, Chasing the Economics of the AI Explosion, which is a great title, I have to say. And we'd love to just dive into some of the topics that you'll be discussing, give the audience here on JSA TV a little bit of a look ahead at what they can expect to hear about during that session. So Aaron, we'll start with you. What are you most excited to talk about during the panel?
What I think is happening in the industry that is underappreciated is the real power that like data centers actually have in the market that they previously didn't have over the past 30 years of a tri-party monopoly of compute. And that the shift that happened with the architecture change under GPUs or accelerated computing is kind of a permanent feature of the future of the way we interface with the internet, the way we interface with technology, and that it's going to increasingly be a distributed world of compute where previously compute was isolated to the three big players that provided a software that made it prohibitive for anyone providing hardware, compute, land, power, energy to really make money because they were a cog in a wheel. And then now that the power has shifted down the stack, mostly thanks to the agnostic innovations that Jensen has been pushing to the market, that now they're in a position to actually be in the transaction flow of customers, which means that they're just gonna make way more money, which is great because the whole world needs more data centers, the whole world needs more power, the whole world needs more silicon. And the world would be a better place that the more compute is cheap and prolific, and the more that all human beings have access to chips and data centers means that they have better services, better quality of products, and a better experience with data. And I think that that is a kind of an underappreciated sort of secondary effect that's happening in the space that people are kind of becoming more aware about. But as a company, we started this company 5 years ago that data centers were currently going to be the place that would be the most pressing shortage. Because as Chris knows, like the end customers always underappreciate how hard it is actually to build a data center. That now is becoming a more public knowledge. Like this stuff is actually not as easy and turnkey as many people think, but that the history of kind of the arc of the way that AI is going to be adopted is just remember this one rule that like no one has really deleted anything on the internet. Neither have you on your phone. You probably deleted like 1% of all the data you've ever actually had on the phone. Now apply that to AI and all the queries you're doing, images you're making, right? And then you can kind of see the future trajectory of like why data centers are going to not only be a strategic asset to the AI economy, but also really connected to, as a country and as a society, as a social imaginary, what do we want to use and how we want to interface with AI. That all of this is connected to a building, power, land, and chips.
Amazing. Great way to start. Thank you, Aaron. Bill, what about you? What are you looking forward to talking about?
I just want to take a note on what Aaron said, and what a wonderful piece of advice, because we're going to be presenting this to a young group of individuals. Remember what Ginn just said. If you post it on the internet, it's probably not gone. So be careful of what you post because it's probably
Sure.
not being deleted. So aside from the fact that, yes, there's ramifications around data and capacity, all that stuff, it's also don't post anything that you don't want me or Aaron or Chris to read. Thank you for that, Aaron. I really love everything you talked about. I want to, and I literally wrote this down as you were saying this. The whole concept of a token per watt. I was attending the Schneider Electric Innovation Summit, and during that conversation, there was a profound statement made during a conversation with some executive leaders, in that one of the biggest myths that we're going to be experiencing in the industry is, and going back to what Aaron said, is how we measure these facilities, right? Is it really ultimately going to be kilowatts per watt, or are we going to go into, because we don't even, I'm sorry, kilowatts per rack, that's what I was going to say. Do we even know what these racks are going to look like ultimately in the future, as we start to hear Mr. Jensen Huang saying the NVL 576 is going to be 600 kW per rack, which is insane, right? But then how are you even measuring this, right? I want to take it up just a little bit of a higher level, right? The title of this is Tokens Per Watt: Chasing the Economics of the AI Explosion. And I think one of the things we need to understand is what this actually means for our market. And I want to draw a parallel, and I'm sorry if you're listening to this and you've heard me saying this in the past. Chris, I know you have. We live in a world that's just discovered oil, but hasn't invented the internal combustion engine. We have all this raw material, and we don't really know what to do with it. We're just starting to figure it out, right? And here I am in the 1800s, standing on an oak barrel, telling you how this black viscous material is going to fly us to the moon and take humanity across the skies. Meanwhile, Aaron's horse is eating hay out back, like on a dirt road, right? And you're thinking, this guy's insane. Fast forward 200 years, here we are, right? Obviously, AI and the economics isn't going to take a 200-year clip for us to get there. But just like oil, and part of the crude analogy, see what I did there with oil? I have a 7-year-old. I'm going to do all the dad jokes that I possibly can while she rolls her eyes at me. The oil is in everything, right? It's in M&Ms, the red ones. It's in clothing. It's in medicine. It's in shoelaces. And where we are in the industry right now, and this is the economics portion of it, how do we get from a barrel of oil to a shoelace? And not just any shoelace, one that actually ties your shoe and doesn't cost as much as the shoe store. So what's really fascinating behind this is that chasing the economics of the AI explosion is an exploration of yourself, what you're trying to do in the industry, what your business is trying to do. Are you really building something that's extraordinarily useful, or is this an elephant on a unicycle? Looks great, but ultimately isn't going to do much for your business. I am genuinely excited to discuss the implications of AI. I'm excited to, make sure that we understand that none of this is a fad. This is not the .com bubble. It's not, right? If we follow and chase where this capital is being invested, it's not speculative, right? It's following real trends and real cycles around what we're going to be doing. And I really can't impress this enough on everybody. None of this is going away, right? You are not going to be replaced by AI. You might be replaced by someone who knows how to use AI, but it's not here to ultimately do that. It's a powerful tool. The one massive aspect that I want everyone to take away from this is the tokens per watt, chasing the economics of the AI explosion. The only way you can do that is through something I feel is important: fearless curiosity. That's where we are right now in this era, where you have to go after these solutions, understand what they're doing, how we're building these facilities. I mean, Aaron, you're talking about, power. The latest metrics, I think, from the Schneider Electric Summit that I saw was 200 gigawatts of energy by 2030 that our industry is going to require. And for everyone listening, 1 gigawatt is for 1 million people, 10 gigawatts is for a New York or a Los Angeles, and 100 gigawatts is about 10% of all the lights that are currently on in the entire world. So when we start to talk about 200 gigawatts of power, it just that is your AI explosion. Everything from how we're going to be using this to Aaron's point that we need more of them, but the complexities behind that, how we actually get to this point. My goodness, I think it's an extraordinary time in this industry, and I'm certainly excited to be part of it, and obviously presenting with Chris and Aaron to talk about it at the SMU conference. It's going to be fun.
Well, I definitely want to fly to Dallas and see this panel now. Thank you. Thank you so much. Chris, it's hard for anybody to go after Bill, but if anybody can do it, it's you. So I will pass the baton over to you now.
Well, I'm the old guard, and so in putting together this grouping, really wanted to bring some of the young guard into play. And when I started in computer science back in the 80s, mainframe was still around. We were just starting distributed compute, and I was on HPUX 1.0 and Solaris 1.0, and all of those old days, which nobody remembers but for a history book. And to watch the evolution of an enabling technology, which compute is, has been fascinating to watch, and the disruptiveness of using the same thing that I used to look for my Doom graphics card, with NVIDIA being the graphics company, and watching the GPU transform into a purpose-built compute, and watching that transformation. My equivalent, I won't use oil as the analogy, but I like to use electricity. This is the most enabling technology. Electricity came about for, reading at night, right? It was safer than a candle, but, there's a lot of folks that didn't adopt it. You had an early America which did. You had a Ottoman Empire which didn't. You see where it worked and you see where it didn't work, and the history is really clear that, this is, while it requires a massive amount of capital infrastructure, it's really creating Jevons paradox, because every kilowatt that I've ever done has gotten more and more efficient over the decades. And I think the big gap that we have, the economics nature of this, is, and something that Aaron and I will touch on, and I know Bill and I have communicated about in the past, is that most of the time economics don't work when you mismatch asset classes and useful lives, and how you go about investing, as we like to think, in 100-year campuses that are going to have utility infrastructure, workforce, fiber infrastructure, all of the satellite infrastructure and the like, in a way that works within communities that it serves. That's a very long-term scale. And then you've got, all the way down to the technology stack, which is a very short-term scale. And the best businesses are going to have a balance between how they work capital, how they work technology, and how they work scale. And those are always going to be the best businesses that come out of this. So I think it's an incredibly fascinating time. I think everybody in the audience would need to look up Jevons paradox before they listen to listen to things, because as our efficiencies increase, our usages increase as well. I mean, we used to have, we wanted those LED lights because they were super efficient, and now we have the sphere. So we're always going to be improving as humanity. I'm a very much a person that's a big believer in what human beings can do, and what individuals and individual companies can do to change the world. And we are literally at the precipice of being able to see changes that are going to be imaginary from when you were born. You could not even fathom what was coming because of the enablement of what's happening, combined with the human spirit. It's one of the most exciting times to be alive.
Oh, well, that's the perfect note to end on. Thank you so much. This has been incredible. For anybody listening or watching on JSA TV who wants to hear more, sign up for the Data Center Innovation and Next Gen Workforce Summit. It's taking place April 16th at Southern Methodist University in Dallas, Texas. And you can click on the link, the QR code here that you're seeing on your screen, to go right to the event webpage and register there. Thanks to all three of you, Aaron, Bill, Chris, for joining us today on JSA TV. And thanks to our viewers for hanging out for another interview. And stay curious, as Bill said, stay connected, and happy networking, everyone. Thank you.